We're right down the stretch here, okay? So it's great that you tuning in. This is Cubfidential. I am your producer, Denzel Snipes. Of course, you can catch me on Twitch. Handle is right there. Also, right below that, Gauntlet, Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check in, baby, baby. Also, be sure and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. On YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button and notification bell for all updates and new videos. So we've got game five going on right now of the World Series, currently 0-0. Bottom of first, two outs, runner on third. So we're gonna see if the Snakes stay alive tonight. But this episode we're gonna recap games 1 through 4. And I'm gonna bring in buddy of mine, of course, he's one of the three kings at Sideline Sports, and he is the host of Cubfidential. Come on in, JB Ellis.
What's going on, Denzel? How you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. So what I'm gonna start with you before we get to Jacob, the pundit. What's your thoughts on the World Series so far? Since this is the team that took care of your team. How you feeling watching them so far?
You know what? And one of the topics is gonna come about here in a minute. They lost Garcia and Scherzer for the series, and they didn't miss a beat. I think they fell asleep the last like 5 innings last night, but then they woke up just in time and realized, oh shoot, a game's still going on. We better stop these guys. That topic's also coming up as well. But hey, they closed it out tonight. They'll be celebrating in DFW, and well, the team itself will be celebrating in Arizona. But yeah, this is Arizona's chance to stay alive tonight. So we'll definitely see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting series so far. I mean, unfortunately, people aren't watching it, except for the pure baseball fans, which is a shame because Texas has had a phenomenal year. Arizona, a lot of young talent, and it's been one of the worst TV rated series in history.
Wow. Yeah, I actually have to go and check the numbers. I'll probably end up checking the overall numbers once the series is over. But yeah, I would imagine that actually be more people watching it because it's two quote unquote underdogs and everyone loves an underdog story. But I guess baseball is a different animal. If there's not Yankees or a Dodgers or an Astros or whoever in it, it's not going to get any ratings.
Yeah, it's really a shame that it's not being watched. But I know that we have some great topics to discuss tonight, and it's definitely been a great series. We're going to bring on Jacob Christner, the
What is
pundit.
going on?
How's it going tonight?
All I can say about these ratings, and this is what I brought. You've seen me bring this part up before. I said this on social media, whether Twitter or anything like that. Jake the pundit, by the way, and it was a quick little buzz. Here's what I've been saying. I've been saying they didn't want, like in football, they didn't want Iowa winning the rest of the games to get to a Big Ten B1G championship. They didn't want that because this is the most miserable offense you've ever seen in your life. Phenomenal defense, but there's no question that when it came down to the end, they were going to screw around with them because they want to be able to have a game that is going to be exciting, and a 6-3 halftime score is not exciting, and they would get that, and then. So when you see something like that, then you see this game right here. You see why they do this in sports, why TV does this.
Yeah, it's a great point. So let's start with a little bit of a recap for those, since not everyone's paying attention. Let's help them out. So game one, Arizona was winning. In the bottom of the ninth, the Rangers came up. Corey Seager hits a huge two-run blast, set up a Garcia walk-off victory in the 11th. Rangers win game one. What were the keys to that first game, and what were your thoughts on what the Rangers did and how they took advantage of an early lead of the series?
Well, I mean, first off, let me say this right now. Unless you are a baseball addict, and there are out there, who knew Adalis Garcia before all this? Now you're going to get a possibility of seeing him next year, two, whatever, getting offers from like the Dodgers. Yeah, we can say Cubs now, Yankees, all of those. But it's like, who was he before? It's like other than the people that knew him. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt. I mean, it's surprising because the Rangers have not been good at home. They won game one at home. They set up early one game to none lead, took control of the series. Then, before you know it, game two, Arizona comes back. They win a huge game, 9-1. Marte goes 1 for 5 with two RBIs. Moreno hits a solo homer, and we're saying to ourselves, "Wow, Texas, they're really not that good at home. What's going on with this?"
Well, remember it took.
What happened to that?
Well, remember it took a game time 2-run homer and then a walk off to win. Kind of like when the Cubs won the World Series, and it took a 6'6" first baseman to catch a slipped foot off of the third baseman. It's like when you're having a bad time, sometimes it takes some luck. That's what it took luck game one. Number two, there come the Snakes again. They're in the World Series for a reason. So right then and there, and it's like, and then when you see things like this, Marte 1 for 5, two RBIs, whatsoever, you can have a bad game all day long. And it's just the littlest thing. That's what baseball is all about. And those kind of things whatsoever. But remember this about Texas: they've been amazing on the road.
Yes, they have, and they get to Arizona, game three. Seager does it again. Game-winning double play in the eighth, which basically helped seal the victory at 2-1. I was saying 3-1. And here you go. Texas goes on the road. They win again. Why is this team so good on the road?
That's what happens to a lot of these teams. I mean, by itself, one of the things, the last couple of years when the Phillies have taken the Braves out, when they've taken those, it's been those home road games. And they've gotten their home and they finished it off, but it's been those road games that they get. And it was a double play in the game one for the Phillies that did that. That caught that whatsoever. Amazing double play. And it's just confidence. It's hot streak. That's why when you get a Cardinals 83 wins, you get an 84 wins on somebody. You get those. It's just a hot streak when you get to the playoffs because you played so many games. Remember, this is 162. For some of these guys, for the rest of this year right now, probably going on 185, 190 games. Maybe they've had a couple of days off and everything like that. But just imagine all of those that have won 5, 6 World Series and how many games they had to play. So it's hot streak at that point because everybody's tired.
Yeah, but I mean, also, if you look at game three as well, Scherzer went out there. He started the game, pitched the first 3 innings, and they took him out with back tightness. So here you go. Your stud is gone, and a lot of people. There was some talk saying doesn't matter. He's going to pitch if necessary in a game 7. They wanted to rest him. Then you hear others saying, well, this could be a huge blow, and this could help Arizona now take control of the series. If they force it late, Texas is down a top-notch pitcher. And this is coming on the heels of the Garcia injury, but yet it doesn't seem to hold the Rangers back. They just go out there and do what they do on the road.
Well, this isn't the day of Jack Morris 10-inning shutout or Randy Johnson pitching game 1 and 3 days later on that kind of rested 1 day later on that rest through 3 innings. This isn't that day anymore. It's like it might have been back tightness and what you could say and stuff like that, but they used to pitch through it. And it's like I said, the sports is run by the agents and the lawyers now. It's like the players by themselves, instead of saying, no, I can do it, with exceptions, there are some that like a Matt Stafford or any of these guys that will lie and keep playing, but through it all. But outside of that, there aren't the same warriors anymore. They kind of listen to their agents more.
I don't know. I look back at my life and how I am, and I don't know if I had back tightness and it was a game in the World Series, I think I'd play. I mean, I think I'd go out there, and till I couldn't any longer, but that's me, and I'm not saying that Scherzer didn't do that. I don't know. I'm only saying my opinion. If it's just simple back tightness, you know, do you really pull yourself out of that particular game? But, I don't know. I don't have that answer. And
Well,
I'm
think
really
about this real
curious
quick.
as what you think.
Well, think about this for a second. This is how changing of a world it is. Dusty Baker in his World Series last year had a no hitter in his World Series in his the little run there, and it was a multiple pitcher one. Which this is the guy who is the most old school, from the gut type of human type of man you've ever seen in your life. Old school to the point, and everything like that. I mean, everybody accused him of ruining Wood and Pryor. BS. Who cares? But that's what they used to do, is pitch through these things. It's a different world on that, and that's the thing. He retired knowing that it is different because he fell in with the multiple pitcher no hitter. He did it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely agree. I just, this team is doing something so special with their ability to win on the road
Yeah.
and the ability to overcome injuries to right now their MVP and their top tier pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the game, no matter what his age is. And they're still going out. They won game 3. We're going to talk about game 4 in just a second, and it didn't hurt them. They're so impressive at the moment.
Well, in comparison, remember in basketball when you have your star, the star on the court's usually basically the point guard, or the point guard, which is basically the quarterback of the team. He runs everything, he's setting everything up. The defenses, the offenses, all that. We can say LeBron now, we say Magic then, Bird then, like for his team. When they're the leader, they're setting everything. In baseball, it's the leader is basically an emotional leader, and it's one guy out there, and it's the one guy out there, and somebody else has to do it. And when you get a hot streak, everybody comes through. So it's like that is the big thing that happens, and Rangers just have a lot of confidence, a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to game 4. So I'm going to tell you my recollection of game 4. So on Tuesday nights is when Sideline Sports is live. And then, of course, we air Wednesday morning in Atlanta. So we're not going to talk about a live game unless it's something spectacular that has to be talked about. That's, so mind blowing. Otherwise, we're going to play it close to the vest. So if you're listening Wednesday morning, you think it's somewhat live, even though we all know it's not. So as we're recording the show, it's 9-0 Texas. Now, this is again a team without their offensive MVP, and they're having no trouble winning on the road. Win game 3, follow up 9-0 in game 4. Uh, they were up 10 runs. The Diamondbacks did have a huge comeback, but at the same time, when you see a huge lead like that, it's not uncommon for the team losing to score a bunch of runs and make it somewhat of a close game because you're not worried. You just got to make sure you don't give up the lead. And, when you look at that, I am so impressed with the game 4 victory. What's your thoughts?
Baseball is that weird thing. The offensive leader or leader of a team by itself, if he's the only one doing anything, it doesn't matter how much of a leader he is or how good he is. He gets his homer, he loses 5-1 still. But if he's struggling themselves, everybody else picks it up. It's that 11 and 10, 9-0. It's 10-1, whatever. Then you see 11-7, but there's that. That's number one. Number two, we've been hearing about all of these terrible ratings that are going on right now. I will bet you anything if the D-backs finish that off, that come back off, you would probably see gigantic numbers. It's like by itself, just because all of a sudden, what else? For one thing, it would if that would have been a comeback, that would have been on every YouTube and TikTok thing, because they're like 1-minute things that would be showing everybody, and all of a sudden you'd be seeing everybody watch it. Just the fact it was a comeback, but it's a loss, so then it's the same.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had a small parlay last night, and comebacks in the NBA are not uncommon. I had Phoenix, and that's for another show. We'll talk about how disgusting that end of the game was. But when you look at baseball, it's really not uncommon for a team that's up a bunch of runs to give up, uh, you know, a large amount and let it stay close because there's no pressure. And if you give up a few runs, you want the pitcher just to throw strikes, not walk anybody, and keep the game moving and just get to the end with the lead. You know, so I wasn't too shocked that they made it closer towards the end. What I am shocked is that Texas, no matter what, just keeps going out there, keeps winning on the road, and they're one game away from closing it out right now. And I don't know if there's any score yet, Jay. If you want to tell me, because I don't have the phone in front of me. But last time we updated, it was 0-0. Um, the but they're on the road, so I mean, I would think that right now Texas has got to be the favorite to win it. Arizona's got all the pressure in the world to try and pull this game out. What do you think?
Still 0-0. Still 0-0. So it's still a
Yeah,
0-0 game into the second inning.
yeah. So, what's your thoughts on what's going to happen the rest of the series? I mean, is it done tonight? Do we get back to Texas? If it goes back to Texas, does Texas have trouble closing out the series at home?
You remember what I said about Texas going back to Houston last week, and I was absolutely correct. I brought that up. I said this gets on the road, it's a problem because number one, Texas was that good. Number two, that little bandbox stadium, and Texas knocks the cover off the ball. Now the same things kind of go whatsoever. They're a little. If they get back home and they do win the World Series back home, it's probably going to be just like Game One. It's probably going to be a Joe Carter situation. It's like it's going to have to be a comeback, and then you're going to see that, and then right then and there is going to be your TikTok, YouTube the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be your special moment.
So right now, looking at this series, um, is there a moment where you say, "Wow, this is that type of moment," or has this just been an average World Series to you?
Truthfully, average. I would say it would have been amazing if they would have finished off that comeback. If the Snakes finished off the comeback, it really would have. But it really overall, game one looked like it was going to be an amazing World Series just because of the two-run. I'm saying the two-runner and then the walk-off. It looked like this is going to be one of those amazing Game 7 World Series. And then after that, big plays and stuff like that, but they're kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'll be honest with you. I don't didn't respect Arizona enough during the season.
None of us
You
did.
know, proud of them. Proud of them that they got where they got. They obviously earned it. I listen. I'll take full responsibility for my lack of vision on their strengths. You know, the same way I did when we talked about Matthew Stafford when he won the Super Bowl, and I gave him credit afterwards. Gonna give the Diamondbacks credit for getting there. I don't see them coming back. I don't see them winning tonight. I I think Texas is going to be World Series champion despite all the injuries, despite the trouble winning at home. There's just something special about this team that they were built properly, and they're a good team.
Oh, and that's
They
correct.
fought hard all year, and I'm glad that they have a shot to win it. And I don't
Yeah,
usually say that about other teams.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing there is. It's like they've earned it. But I mean, you got to remember this part by itself is like reason I said that about if the Snakes were to come back, we see something. Put it on ESPN.com right now. The World Series is the third story down, and you have to scroll to find it. The World Series. The first one is Bob Knight. The
Yeah,
second one's a WNBA game. When would you have seen that before? A WNBA game, passing of the World Series. But it's a different world we live in, and it's like, and just like I brought up in the top of the telecast, I said the reason we don't see the Iowas or anything like that in football make it. Is like what happens because you need to be blowing them out and making it no doubt about it to get there. Otherwise, television and producers they will run it. I'm just saying they will run into this and they will mess you around and screw you if they would mean something. They will do it. If there was a chance that the Yankees were going to make it, I'm sorry, it's true. If there's a, and
Yeah.
it's not to say that these teams aren't good. TV wants excitement. They've got this is not that exciting to people. You know what I'm saying? You had a chance if you had a chance at Atlanta and Houston or Philadelphia and Houston, that'd been huge. The Cubs got 22.5 million people watching in 16. There's 8.9 million right now. This is telling us exactly what we need to say.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a shame because, in all honesty, Texas is a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona is a good young team. You should want to watch these guys. If you're a baseball fan and you're into baseball, this is what it's about. These two teams fought hard and they found a way to get there. And, great job by both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they finished tonight. You're correct on that. And if they prove us wrong and everything, I mean, again, if they prove us wrong, then it goes back to Texas. Listen back. Remember, because I was right when I said to you, last time we talked to you, it was like a game 5 or something when we were all talking. And I said, if they
Yes.
go back to Houston, that little band, and they played good on the road and that bandbox, it could be trouble. And I was right. I'm going to say it here. If it goes back to Texas, goes back to Arlington, it's probably going to be another Joe Carter moment.
So, question for you, Cub or Dud? If the Rangers win the series, Corey Seager should have a second World Series MVP.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It just he's done too much. He's done too much not to. But there's always going to be that opportunity of putting Dallas Garcia up there. They're going to try, but I think it should be Seager.
Yeah, I don't think Garcia could win if he because he got hurt. I don't think he could be the World Series MVP, but that's my opinion.
Well,
Up
and
to
that
the
is true. That's true, but it's just the game winning, the game winner. Just the game
right.
winner starting up the whole thing is what I'm saying. It would be a first. But I'm saying actually I think it should be Seager, don't get that wrong. But I am just seeing just because it's the idea of giving somebody no, not too many people the casuals don't know Dallas Garcia. Decent casuals would know Seager. But stuff
Without
like
a
that. But
doubt,
we're
yeah.
talking the whole thing with casuals. No one's going to know Adonis until tonight, until this World Series.
Without a doubt, yes. So let's do one of my favorite segments, and we try to reach out to our local guy in Minnesota, one of the best in the game with us, Troy Geary, who we all love.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he has another commitment right now. He would have loved to have been on, I'm sure. But let's go
He
back to
has more commitments
1991.
than Elizabeth Taylor.
Uh-oh.
So
So
we already
let's go
seen
back.
this.
Let's go back to 1991. Jack Morris, 10 shutout innings, a complete game, 7 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts. He beat the Atlanta Braves 1-0, and the Twins got their second World Series trophy in 5 years. So I actually remember watching that game.
Yeah.
I was, much younger then, uh, still in high school at the time.
13 here. Yeah.
And I remember that game well because I kept saying, can he keep pitching? Are they going to leave him in? It's 0-0. It was unheard of, to have a guy pitch 10 innings. Even back then, I mean, we'd have to go back how many years before that would be kind of normal?
Part of my reason why I try to if I was to be like if I was to be a baseball scout, for instance, and I was looking for talent, I don't think there would be a whole lot of chances for me to be able to get anybody to get to the majors because I don't think they'd want who I'd want. I'm talking about the Kyle Hendricks, the placement guy. Yeah, everything like that. Because the reason I have an end game to the reason I do that is because they're not allowing power pitchers to go 10 innings anymore. They're just not. I mean, there's just too much at stake. you can let a placement pitcher who's pitching out of his dang mind go as long as you want, as long as because most likely he's getting ground balls on the second pitch.
Very
Most
true.
likely, yeah, and all those things. See, Jack Morris probably had 140 pitches. I'll bet you anything. He probably had that, but that's why I'm looking for the placement pitcher at all times, because I can let him go as long as I want to, because he's not going to throw as many pitches.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I remember the game. I remember back in the Metrodome. I, you know, as a Yankee fan, I remember the Metrodome kind of like the Oakland Coliseum. Two places I never liked to see the Yankees play.
Yeah.
And the Metrodome was just a weird, very weird stadium, a weird dome. It almost looked like baggies were put on the roof, and it was just very, very odd.
Well, it'd be fun to fall from a plane and land on that thing.
Right? And it was really great to see the Twins win. I was back in the day where baseball was a different type of game. It's not like today. There was no wild card. Just a very fun thing to watch. And, Jack Morris, I mean, it was almost like a resurgence of his career when he went to Minnesota.
Yep. And the first of 3 World Series in a row, we're not seeing that again. It's just hard because you got to remember you're never going to get a Jacob deGrom getting 3 straight World Series because he can't stay past 3 2/3 innings. There's just difference. These are things I've brought up since I've been with Sideline Sports. Probably a little thing,
He can't pitch 3 starts in a row, let alone.
no kidding. It's like, but 3 World Series in a row, just imagine those rings. The thing is, who knows Jack Morris now? He wasn't even that big of a player, but he was an amazing pitcher.
Right. No, without a doubt. I think that, it was a very special series. I loved it. And, I wasn't a huge fan of the Braves back then. You're killing me, Smalls. So, where can people find you?
Anywhere that I'm going to make Jacob deGrom takes. No. Okay. Sundays, I am the Sunday mornings on starting November 5th. I am the professor of pupils on South Florida Tribune. Monday nights with the Sniper, and it's Sniper and Pundit for Top Rope Talk for wrestling, which we've gotten a couple of people in, which is pretty cool. We're getting people that want to be on our show. It's nice. It's all ready. Wednesday night, Tuesday nights I do an independent, the yin and yang, every couple of weeks. Wednesdays is this show and going over to the South Florida Tribune for Sports Exchange. Thursday nights is Pundit, and then whenever they need me, I'm on the bench for Gauntlet. Hadn't been lately, but I never know. And then all the social media, Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok.
Awesome. Well, I have a feeling I'll see you in a few minutes on the South Florida Tribune.
Yep.
But, and we got one more show before we wrap up the season for Cubfidential before we go into our monthly schedule.
Yep.
But great year. Hopefully next year we'll have the Cubs in the playoffs and we could go pretty far.
We got closer
almost
this year.
got there this year.
We got closer this time, so it's like it's climbing a ladder.
They played meaningful games in September, which is all you could ever hope for.
Yep.
So
we're getting there.
Exactly. But we'll see you next week. Till then, I'm JB _ the program on Twitter. Sideline Sports every Tuesday night, 8:30. WDJY 99.1 in Atlanta. Make sure you're listening Wednesday morning. Also, if you're a football fan, Sunday 12 to 1 NFL pregame show, WDJY 99.1. Listen online if you go to their website. Don't have to be in Atlanta if you just can't get enough of Sideline Sports. There's shows every night of the week. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't waste any more time. Subscribe. A lot of great things happening. Catch up with you guys later. Till next week, we're out.
Yep.